Welcome back to the Wilderness Podcast tonight, ladies and gentlemen. How you doing on this great Thursday? How's everybody doing? I hope you're doing well. I hope you're doing swell. Listen, we're gonna take another position on tonight's show. Check me out. The show is called tonight. This is positioning yourself for success within. Positioning yourself from success within. Oh yeah, it's a mindset. It most definitely is a mindset. And the reason why positioning from yourself within is a mindset is we're just going to have a conversation. A conversation that goes like this. There are a lot of people on the planet. There are a lot of people on the planet that like to fabricate themselves into success. They like to act as if their story is far more greater than your story. They would pretend they had different additives. They have different subjugations just to topple what you have to say or what you have to tell them. It's a perplexed situation. The reason why I say that is because you have to think about it. When a person don't value their actual person, their person, like the person that they are, when you don't value that, you have to ask yourself, well, what will you value? You will value how you think you can better yourself from the outside looking in. It's the walls you can put up. It's the basically it is the exterior or the how you want to be seen. Basically, you want to be perceived a specific way when most people that fight, they're hard to be perceived a certain way, they have a rotten core. Something rotten about them. There's something off about them because they fight too hard for perception. They fight too hard to, maintain something that just shit. It ain't true for them. But you can see it in their eyes. You can tell who they actually are, and they deny it. That's not me. Yes, yes, the fuck it is. Yes, it is. It is you. How do you know? Oh well, because you are always in a constant state of denial. So when a person is in a constant state of fucking denial, you have to really ask yourself, they can't be fucking serious. You can't be serious. Of course you can't be serious because you refuse to realize the truth. See, the truth is about people. They love a facade. They don't actually do the work. They don't actually complete nothing. They talk a good game. They say, but it's facade. That's what lies become so valuable. Think about how long the Democratic Party and how long you got black women and men, Americans. You think about the last relationship you've been in, how that person say, oh, how much I love you, but can't stop fucking off on you. I think now that the truth is out about a lot of situations, people are tired of being fucked off on and people are tired of being screwed over. Think about the complete equations again. Think about it. Think about it all. Think about all of the times you've done that wicked shit and you said, I didn't mean it. But you did though. It made you feel good at the time. You couldn't resist. Yeah. What do you mean by that, identity? Okay, think about this equation right here. Think about this. When we're talking about positioning yourself for success, how do you do that? You have to do that by being focused. But when the last time you had that friend that say, "Hey, I wanna hang out," or you wanna go hang out like the old times and fuck off? See, the best thing you can ever do is stay away from that type of situation. They have a plan. You see it all the time. So, if you really took yourself more seriously and took your positioning in life more seriously, you won't lose sight of you won't lose sight, you won't lose focus. You couldn't possibly lose focus because you have too much at stake, I would say. When a person values their position in life, you have to stop you actually stop have to dealing with certain people. You have to stop doing certain things too. It's true. You have to sacrifice. You have to make a concerted effort to pivot yourself into success. So that means changing of your language, changing the way you talk about people, changing the way you talk about yourself specifically. Stop comparing yourself and start bettering yourself. The comparing equation always comes when you always say some shit like, "I ain't doing that bad," or like, "At least I'm trying," or, "You know what you wanna do, but you won't do it." So, in the meantime, you'll suffice by working a little harder at what or what you feel like you wanna do. But is it what you wanna do? It all really falls back to, survival, if you think about it. The reason why in that position you're in right now, you should be doing well is because it's survival. It pays your bills. The reason why you should always never, when you're a visionary, you can never look so far ahead when you're not understanding your position where you are today. That's blasphemy. How do you think successful people achieve their goals? They have to practice discipline day in and day out on a continuum. I love that word. I don't know if you hate it or love, I don't give a fuck. Continuum is a very wonderful, specifically used word because it says you have to do something the right way for a long period of time and you can't really deviate. And if you deviate, it costs you badly too. So consistency is what people they love the word consistency, but very few people are consistent. Very few people. They say, I'm consistent. Oh, well, you're consistent for a week. You're consistent for a week and a half. That's not consistent. How about being consistent for 5 years and 10 years? Yeah. Or maybe even 6 months, 2 months. Consistency works in a multitude of ways simply because you get really good at something when you actually continue to try to be successful at it. It's called work. Yeah, but you have to have a passion behind anything because work and passion, work and talent, work in anything requires work. Training is work. What else is work? Everything. When you have a thought process to try to accomplish, a goal or to achieve a mission or to solve a problem or to get to a solution when you're thinking you're working, it requires work. But you have to put action behind your thoughts. So that's the completion of the work that you want to get to. You know, if you have a thought, if you have a solution, if I can make this do this, that's a thought, and you have to apply action to get to here. Yeah. Yeah, that's how that goes. You have to actually apply the action to get to where you want to be. You sure, yeah, absolutely. You may be there here in your mind. You've accomplished it all, but can you actually do it? Can you sacrifice? Can you do it? Can you do it? I think you can. Yeah, absolutely. I think you can. Hell, I can. I'm doing it. But it takes applied action. So, hurdles, people always look at adversity as a bad thing. Oh my God, the woe was me, to play the victim, to play the, oh no, just own it. The quicker you own your situation and do something about it, the better it's going to get. That's just a fact. The quicker you understand the fabric and the infrastructure of the way it was even have addressed itself to you, you have to understand that there's a solution for it. Just don't overreact and don't overthink it. Sometimes you have to look through it, not going over it or around it. Go through it because that actually resolves your problem. When you try to go over something, what if you hurt yourself going over it? Literally, going over it, get a brain aneurysm because you're trying to outthink the whole situation. You're putting too much thought into it. And it's very simple. Go through it. That's the simplest way. It's not lazy, it's just direct. So most people you know, when they have these awkward type of situations or questions or, people with different sort of ideological dynamics that they want to push on you and they try to do that to fluster you. It's just it's all a what you would call a chaotic tactic just to throw you off your game. It's not even a serious question half of the time. But if you're not serious about what you're saying, it can catch you. So you have to be sharp and always have a resolution as well. So you can base your situation on a solution. But what if somebody throws some shit like it's totally throw it off? It may have some relevance, but you have already thought of it. So even when you know your work, you may have to present your work at any given time. At any given time, you may have to present. You understand? And when you present your work and you know what you're talking about, that legitimizes you. That lets people know, oh shit, damn, you know what the fuck he talking about? Wow. Oh yeah. So that's when you can quiet, you can silence people when you understand the tone of the room, when you understand how to read people and how they're really going to disrespect you by even addressing you with sometimes subpar questioning. But when you're the developer, when you're the creator, the orchestrator, you pick your team. You know who can do what. That way you can you understand how your operation is moving. Because people are paid well and they're believing in you. And sometimes, it's a better situation to do that with people that are verifiable. And that's just a fact. I mean, you think about people that you don't vet, you can bet your ass that they're to sabotage. They'll love you, kiss you on the cheek, and the knife is ready. See, those are treacherous people. They're in your families. They call themselves your friends. They call themselves people that love you. And also strangers that you meet so well and you click so well with, they can't wait to sabotage your ass as well. So the vetting process is a continuum. Again, yeah, it's an ongoing situation with people because when people finally want to, capitalize on you and part ways or set you aside, what are you to do then? You're hung in the balance. That's purgatory because you were defiled. Yeah. Defiled meaning left unjustly, taken advantage of, uh, just being pushed aside, defaulted on deliberately. That's a cold-blooded fucking situation. So when someone does those type of things, you understand how you have to operate then. When people can look you in your face, and you can look them in their face, and you can look them in their eyes, and you meet and you see who you are dealing with and who you know, who you fuck with and who fuck with you. It's a very proper situation. I'm telling you. So saying that meaning you need people to be successful. You do. You can't do everything by yourself. That's not what you're here to do. That's not what we're here to do. We're here to collaborate. We're here to be a branch of greatness that can be distributed out into the universe and expect that in return. But if you don't have the altitude to want to do that, then we have to have the abilities to you know at least get the word out there and bring a new beginning on unto all of us simply because you have truth just to say. Just to say. And a lot of people don't understand it, don't want it, don't want to appease to it because it doesn't appease them as far as like it is you're not put up on the some form of a spell. You dig? Truth always dispels. You dig? You understand what I'm saying? So check it out. We're gonna play some music, do a little book share, because I gotta show y'all a few things that I have discovered. I want to show you some shit real quick. So let me see if we're gonna get to some little cool little music. Something that plays nice. Yeah. That does. That plays nice. That's cool. I'm with it. All right. So the book share tonight. I gotta turn this down a little bit. Too loud. And annoying. I gotta change this shit. Too much ticking for me. Oh. I fuck with that. I could do that. So tonight's show, the book share is gonna be J.A. Rogers, Nature's Knows No Color Lines. Oh yeah, touchy subject. Touchy. Oh yeah, here we go. J.A. Rogers. Nature Knows No Color Line. The classic work of Black study refuting scientific racism. Yeah. Check it out. I had this chapter marked out for a specific reason. Color, prejudice among whites, among darker people, for their own kind. It is quite possible also that the color prejudice of white for black began in a prejudice among the whites for shades of their own color. I refer to a so-called science of cynicism. Physiogenomy, which race individuals are good or bad desirable or undesirable on their physical traits. This pseudoscience probably originated in the East, a very ancient Indian work. El I Kafa, Kaifa, Kaifa tells how to judge character by eyes, height, hair, color, and so on, but the work of which is own development and power in the West was Aristotle's physiconomic, yeah, physiconomica for the 4th century BC. Soft, silky hair, said Aristotle, was a sign of cowardice. Coarse one meant courage. Again, let me read this for you again. Soft, silky hair, said Aristotle, was a sign of cowardice. Coarse one meant courage, provided it curly gently at the ends. If it curled too much or were woolly, like that of the Ethiopians, then it signified the same as the soft, silky one. A full voice, deep and round, indicated courage. A lagging or a high-pitched one, cowardice. Short arms showed addiction to gambling and dancing. A pale complexion, small eyes, and thick black hair on a body showed las lascivi lasciviousness. Big feet meant strong in character, providing the toe did not curve at the ends, of which case indicated impudence. Banti buttocks showed strong character, fat ones a weak mind. A large head was quickness, a small forearm stupidity, gray eyes cowardice. As for the nose, its shape, its sizes, width had great effort in one's character. Boundness, such as much value in the United States, was no more desirable to the Greek than jet black, according to Aristotle. He said, too black a hue marks cowardice, a witness. Egyptians and Ethiopians are also thus too white a complexion as you may see some women, so the hue that makes a courage must be intermediate between those extremes. A tawny color indicates a bold spirit, as a lion, but too ruddy a hue makes a rogue. As the Greeks seem to have thought that the most desirable color was dark brunette or mulatto one, but too white a color of undoubtedly meant fair whites of the north. In the politics, he classed them as inferior. The Greeks admired physical strength and muscles, so show up better in a dark skin than a fair one. Julian Huxley, a great living scientist, says, what does a good physique look better than a skin over muscles and black than when it is white? And we say today, not tall, blonde, and handsome, but tall, dark, and handsome. The ancient Indian also, at least among the Brahmins, a very fair skin and a very dark one were not considered desirable. Their love precepts, as recorded in the Kama Sutra, says that among the black, the early Arabs did not admire a blonde skin, either a brunette, but reversed the values. Says Toynbee, in no dark man land today is a blonde skin admirer over a brunette one. This is true, at least the male is certain white countries' interest in athletics as Germany. In the early Islamic writings, one finds Now and then, expressions of prejudice for a black skin. Mahatma found it necessary and cautioned against it. He said that all men, regardless of color, were one in God. That one whose hair was even like dried grapes should be respected, if even he came to authority. Even in Ethiopia, where the white skin was never admired, and in Harley is now. A very dark skin, especially where accompanied by pronounced Negro features, was somewhat looked down on. Hmm. The most desirable color seems to be that of the northern Ethiopian in the shore. The complexion of the latter is usually that of a dark mulatto, is probably due to mixture with the Portuguese who occupied the region in 1490 to 1653. Huh. At no time in the east of Alexander the Great to now has a prejudice of whites been as strong as a mulatto in the British Western Indies for blacks, except in the wars between the Aryans and Diasis, Diasis in India, and occasionally revolts in the Islamic Empire, which were not due to color alone. It is safe to say that there had been no conflict in the East nearly as serious as in between the blacks and mulattoes in Haiti, and later in 1850 under Emperor Solanke. Belief in physiognomy grew in strong among whites with such a power enhanced charlatans, and Pope Paul the fourth in 1559 placed books on the Index 7, and in 1743 the British Parliament outlawed it. These laws lessened the pseudoscience in Europe, but it had developed meanwhile in the American colonies, where different in skin color was so much more marked, with no restraint and there. Physiognomy mounted the throne. What the whites had been saying about one another color had features they now applied without force to blacks. This began in the fifth percent stage of color prejudice, and since it was time when the considered most awful not to be a Christian, and one went to the Bible as authority of most almost everything colonists picked up in the ham, tacked on the obscure Jewish legend already mentioned, to use them as God's own order to enslave the blacks. This book has so many truths and powers in it, you should pick it up. This is Nature Knows No Color Line by J.A. Rogers. A wonderful piece of work, because it explains to you the ideology of how the Europeans thought it was just necessary to dispel their black lineage and heritage amongst them all when they started practicing a lot of colorism, especially in the 1670s, when actually it was invented and the race took off. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen. Somehow I knew it did that. Yes, indeed. Yeah. Sometimes you know your timing, but I got to make sure you got to monitor that power and stuff, So, yeah. Another book I was studying today, which I will get to you another day, because we're going to wrap this show up tonight. What time is it? 10:40? Yeah, we got to wrap this show up. This is a dope book, man. Let me show you the book I'm talking about right here. Rediscovering America. Very, very wonderful piece of work by Roger G. Kennedy. We're going to get into this book tomorrow. and a couple more. Let me show you a couple more books we're gonna get into too, so that you understand that I'm gonna cook. I'm gonna cook on purpose because I know it. I'm gonna keep riding it out, man. I'm telling you, I have so much information to share. I had this one set aside to you for you. Okay. All right. The land. Okay, let me give you the introduction. This is An Indigenous People's History, a History of the United States by Roxanne Dunbar Ortiz. The land. This is the introduction. Under the crust of the portion of earth called the United States of America, from California to the Gulf Streams, waters, interred the bone, villages, fields, sacred objects of American Indians. They cry out for their stories to be heard through their descendants who carry their memories of how the country was founded and how it came to be as it is today. It should not have happened that the great civilizations of the Western Hemisphere, a very evident of the Western Hemisphere, were wantonly destroyed and gradually progress of humanity interrupted and set upon the path of greed and destruction. Choices were made that forged the path towards destruction of a life itself, the moment of which we now live and die on our planet, shriveled, overheated. To learn now the history of both, a necessity and a responsibility of the ancestors and descendants of all parties. What histories David Chang had written about the land and becoming Oklahoma applied to the whole United States, nation, race, and class converged in land. Everything in the U.S. history is about the land. Who oversaw and cultivated it, fished its waters, maintained its wildlife, and invaded and stole it. How it became a commodity, broken into pieces to be brought and sold on the market. U.S. policies and actions related to the indigenous people through, I love pages, often termed racist or discriminatory, and rarely depicted as what they are now cases of imperialism and participations in the form of colonialism and settled colonialism. And the anthropologist Patrick Wolf writes, the questions of genocide is never far from discussions of settlers. Colonialism, land is life, or at least land is necessary for life. Absolutely. The history of the United States is the history of settler colonialism, the founding in the states based on the ideology of white supremacy and widespread practices of African slavery and policy of genocide and land theft. Those who seek history with the upending, and history, redemption, reconciliation, not even in utopian dreams for a better settings. U.S. history of an indigenous people perspective and requires rethinking of a consensual national narrative. The narrative is wrong or deficit, not in its fact, dates, or details, but rather its essence, inherited in the myth that we taught and embraced for settlers, colonialism, and genocide. The myth persists, not for a lack of free speech or poverty or information, but rather for its absence in motivation to ask questions and challenge the core of the scripted narrative of the origin story. How might acknowledging the reality of U.S. history work for transform society? That it is central question this book pursues. Happy birthday, B. One of my great friends, Brian Evans. Happy birthday, my brother. Happy birthday. Yes, sir. Happy birthday, my bro. Knowing that guy almost 20 years. Salute to you. Happy birthday, my friend. So check it out. This book is a powerful book. Reading this will definitely have you understand the intricacies of this land as well. We got more to share on another day. Tomorrow's Friday. We're going to do a hell of a run in the long show too. So check it out. I love you guys tonight. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for watching. Yo, let's get that watch hours up. Y'all watch my shows. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Share, subscribe, like. Let's keep pushing. Let's get it out there. But thank you for what you're doing and what you have done for me and what I do for you. I'm grateful too. Humility goes a long way. I ain't got no reason to not be that. So check it out. That's the end of the show tonight. I appreciate you guys, and I hope you understand that positioning yourself for success within, it has to do with you knowing who you are and what you can contribute to the planet in a positive manner, a positive way, a positive reflection. It's a duty. It's an honor to be who you are if you know who you are. That's the show tonight. Put the success within you by knowing you. It's there. It'll come together and it grows like a beautiful flower blossoming and, looking gorgeous and smelling good and all of that good shit. But anyway, that's the show tonight. I love you guys. And remember, this is the favorite part of the show, right? The will is yours. Be cool, my people. Take care. All right.